All right, it's time. I am going to yap, and if you want to listen, you can. This is Floor Time. I have been thinking about starting a podcast or something photography related for a while. This is not going to be exclusively photography related, so if you're not getting married or into wedding photography chats, do not fear. But I post on my stories on Instagram a lot, and occasionally I'll go on these little rants or just share little life updates. And a few of you have gotten my head a little too big, and you've said that you would listen if I started a podcast. So here we are. I've decided to call it Floor Time because we all just need a little floor time. And increasingly over the years, I found that I'm not spending enough time on the floor. In college, on the floor all the time, studying on the floor, chatting with friends on the floor, scrolling on the floor. But for some reason, maybe it's because I've been collecting furniture, I'm just not spending enough time on the floor. But a lot of great conversations happen on the floor. So I decided, Floor Time. Anyway, welcome to Floor Time. If you're listening, you probably are one of my very close friends, or maybe we chat on Instagram. So thanks for being here. It's basically going to be my Instagram stories, but long form. And that's part of why I wanted to do it, because I find that there's things I want to say, like really pointless opinions that I want to share. But either Instagram just doesn't feel like the place to do it, especially because my Instagram I use all the time is for my photography business. I do share my random opinions on there. But sometimes I want to say more and just put it out into the void. So this is what that is, I guess. So anyway, now that I'm a little bit warmed up, let's talk about me being in front of the camera. Not something I like, not something I'm used to. It is taking everything in me to look into the lens and not stare at myself in the monitor. Justin insisted I use a monitor, and he's right. I should see the framing. I should make sure things are in focus. However, I didn't want to use a monitor for two reasons. One, I'm tempted to stare at myself the entire time. Two, it adds one more element to doing this. I wanted this to be as simple as possible because it feels silly. We don't need more podcasts in the world, but here I am. So I wanted to make it as simple and accessible for myself as possible, but he insisted I use a monitor. So I am also very uncomfortable because I'm always behind the camera. And I tell my clients this all the time. I am really awkward in front of a camera. So it makes me being behind the camera a great experience for my clients because I know exactly what I would need. I know what direction I would need. I don't know what to do with my hands a lot of the time. Thankfully, I'm a hand talker, so for a podcast, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this is not my element, so maybe it'll become my element. Enough of you have said that I tell stories in a funny way, or somebody recently said I talk in an addictive way. I don't think that's universally true, but for Christine it is, and so I love you, Christine, for that. Hopefully you're listening to this and find this addictive. That's the longest intro, and that's okay. I'm not going to redo it because I just need to start this. And if I don't do it badly at first, right, I'm never going to start. That's how you get good at things, is by doing it. Few things I want to talk about are life lately. What is my life right now? Some of you are probably kind of confused about what I do or where I live. Depending on where you know me from. This is assuming anybody is listening, which I actually do not care if anybody listens to this because I know at least two people will. One of them might be myself, and that's fine. Regardless, let me talk about what I am doing in life and give you a little update. I live in the mountains. I have two amazing dogs, which if you're watching this, that probably means you already know that, and you know that I'm obsessed with my dogs. I love them. They're incredible. I'm looking at one of them right now through the window. His name is Forrest. We just rescued him. We rescued him from Rex's Animal Rescue in Texas, and I'm so happy that we adopted him. Now I'm going to struggle not to stare at him. He's digging a hole. No, he's trying to get his ball. Anyway, we rescued him. Vanessa texted me and said, hey, if you want another golden retriever, I have one, and he's 13 weeks old. Justin and I had wanted to get a second dog for a while. We were thinking this fall would be a good time to start pursuing that, but he was really adamant he wanted to rescue a dog. Pfeiffer was from friends at church. Their dog had a litter of puppies. It was the perfect timing for us. We had just moved into a townhouse that allowed pets, but he was we we should get a dog from a shelter or rescue for the second one, which I think is great. I was thinking of getting a more protective breed, something like a shepherd, like a German shepherd, or I don't know. But those are working dogs. So I was a little bit hesitant just because I know there's a lot more involved with breeds like that. Vanessa told us about Forrest, and Nellie and I went out to Albuquerque, met her in the middle, picked him up. He came from a home originally that was not very loving. And boy, is that the opposite now. The original owners, I guess, didn't want him. They called him a dud. He wasn't doing what they wanted him to do and not leaving his crate. And I'm like, okay, if a puppy is scared, perhaps you're doing something wrong. If it's to the point that you're calling him a dud. Like, that's crazy. A golden retriever should want to play with you. That's just kind of their nature. Anyway, he's in a great home now. And yeah, he's 5 months old. He's incredible. I'll stop talking about my dogs now. I shoot weddings, as again, you probably know if you're watching this. This year, I will have shot by the end of it 29 weddings, plus any engagement shoots with that or random other shoots. So it's been a big year. I'm trying to not book as much next year just because this is about my limit of what I can handle. There's 52 weeks in the year, and it's not actually 30 of the weekends that have weddings because I do have some double headers in there. I did have, I want to say at least two weekday weddings this year. So anyway, next year I'm trying to do 20 to 25. We'll see. What else is happening in my life? We bought a house in the mountains, so that's where I'm sitting right now, as you can see. It was kind of unexpected. We were looking to buy something more so in the next couple of years, but Zillow is a really dangerous place. And it's kind of like when you go shopping and you try on a shirt or a dress or whatever, especially like wedding dress shopping, you try something on out of your budget or you're not planning to buy anything, and then you fall in love with it. And that's kind of what happened. We had liked the area for a while. We have friends that live here, and Justin's always talked about over the last couple of years, if and when we buy a house, he wanted to move to the mountains. Cost of living here is housing prices are way cheaper. So I was just kind of browsing Zillow and saw the sunroom and the pictures. And having been up here several times, I knew because of the trees and the hills, a lot of the homes feel a lot darker inside, and I really like natural light. So when I saw the sunroom, I was really, really excited. So yeah, it was kind of just on my radar. And then I saw another house, which was actually the house that got us to start touring homes. Turns out it was one of those homes that was bought in 2020, flipped as an Airbnb, but done really poorly. And then there was a lot of renovations that were going to need to be done. And at first I was sold because I was tricked kind of by myself, but also they were selling a lot of most of the furniture with the home, and they had furnished the upstairs really nicely. There was it was kind of, I don't think it was necessarily an A-frame home, but there was huge windows, beautiful design inside in the living space. And so when I found out they were selling all the furniture with it, it was within the price range we were looking for. I was like, oh my gosh, Justin, we have to get it. But as per usual, his logic kind of settled me down again. And then this was the second house we saw. And this house, though it's outdated in a lot of ways, it's just the bones are really good. The updates that they made within the last 20 years are, again, outdated, but not falling apart. You know, like you're not going into the kitchen going, ooh, like, is this gonna fall apart? Are the stairs gonna fall apart when I'm walking up? The flooring is fine, you know, in most of the house. We do want to replace the flooring eventually, but it's all livable, right? And that's kind of like, when it came down to it, we wanted to just get something that was solid. Anyway, the location's also wonderful, so we just decided to go for it. And looking back, it was the perfect timing. Even though it was kind of sudden, we moved before wedding season. We moved during the spring. So it wasn't during snow or winter or anything. And we had the whole summer to adjust and figure out what life is like living in the mountains before the peak wedding season picked up and before winter. So I think it was great timing. And that was the Lord, because we just weren't planning to do it at that point. So yeah, that's where we're at. Justin edits commercials. And then, of course, he shoots weddings with me a lot of weekends. I would say probably about 50% of the time he comes with me and is shooting video in some capacity. What else is important right now? Nellie got married. If you're listening and you know me, then you know Nellie, most likely. Or you've seen her on my Instagram. She got married. She is currently in the Maldives. And it's terrible because I can't talk to her. She is offline, enjoying paradise. So that's good for her, I guess. But maybe that's partially why I'm starting this now. I have been thinking about this all year. And there's been multiple points where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And then it's normally when I'm falling asleep, I'm thinking about it. And then the next day comes and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. So maybe her being gone and inaccessible to me has pushed me to the boredom necessary to actually start a new thing. Occasionally on my Instagram stories, I will put up a question box and either ask people for horror stories or embarrassing moments or fun facts. I used to actually post a lot, like fun facts with Noelle. Actually, I think I said Norel at the time. Fun facts with Norel, and just share random facts. So today I did post, what would you make illegal if you were president of the universe? Because there's several things that I would make illegal. So I didn't say that I was going to be posting or be talking about this on video. So I am going to keep these anonymous. I will be doing future submission episodes, likely, if you're into that. So I'll start us off with the one that I posted on my story. If I were the president of the universe, the first thing I would make illegal is chewing gum. Now, Sam did DM me and ask, chewing gum or chewing gum? Which is a great question. Gum. Just gum is illegal. Chewing is probably illegal as well, which is so irrational, but I can't handle the sounds of chewing. So chewing gum is illegal. Specifically, if I was a teacher, a professor, if I was a college professor, because usually, actually, I don't know how this works in high schools. Are you allowed to chew gum? You're probably not allowed to chew gum in class. If it's per class, my class, it's not happening. You're not chewing gum near me. In college, it would drive me insane if people were chewing gum, eating in class, typing on their laptops. I'm sorry to say it, illegal. I think I would go absolutely bonkers, depending on the day. I'm very noise sensitive, and depending on the day, it makes me want to cry. I've actually cried over things like this before. So yeah, gum would be illegal in classrooms for sure. If nothing else, in classroom settings, illegal. The next thing that would be illegal is inconsequential. Is that the word? I am so sick of the trend on TikTok where people will start their video to tell a story by saying, put a finger down if, and then they go on for like 5 minutes about this traumatic thing that happened to them. I want the story. I want to know what happened to you. But if you start your video with put a finger down if, scrolling away. I am so tired of it. It was funny at first, but now it's so tired. Stop doing it. We'll go with another TikTok one because this is, I've seen it mostly on TikTok in the comments. Stop calling things a theory that aren't a theory. Let me give you an example. Burnt toast theory. Okay, this one I understand. I think this is probably one of the longer lasting ones, or the older ones, I should say, where it's like, hey, if you burnt your toast in the morning, don't be upset. It could have saved you from a car wreck. You know, like that, that 30 seconds or that 5 minutes could have changed your life. I can accept burnt toast theory. I get what you're talking about, whatever. But we have gone past the logical amount of theories. If you want to reference something, call it what it is. Like, I don't even have another good example, but everything is a theory these days. Gray sweater theory, or yellow carpet theory, or glasses theory. Stop calling things a theory. Hair theory, that's one I've seen a lot. I think that one is just like your different hairstyles make you look different. I don't know. Maybe I'm ignorant. I know that I am in most ways. That one in particular is probably like you're perceived differently with your different hairstyles. Like, fine. But that's not hair theory. That's just like sociology. I'm so tired of things just being called a theory. Lemonade theory. I don't know. You could call anything a theory. People are doing this. If you're on TikTok, you know. Here's another thing I would make a law. This one's also kind of niche. This one is photography related. And I'm so sorry if this offends somebody, especially if this offends like anybody that I've worked with or whoever, but I'm not thinking of anybody in particular when I say this. I am really tired of the phrase photos you can feel on photographers' websites or in their Instagram bios. I think at first that phrase was really like mind-blowing, like, oh my gosh, that's so poignant, right? Like, that gets at what I wanted to depict with my photos, emotion. And you're, especially for weddings, you're capturing the biggest day of their life up to that point usually. But if we're saying photos you can feel on every single photographer's website, that doesn't set you apart anymore. I think it used to, probably, but at this point it just feels like copying and unoriginal. So that's illegal. Let's read some submissions, okay? Some of these are funny. I like these. So my question box was a little confusing. It says, what's illegal for you? If you were president of the universe, what laws would you make? Mine is chewing gum is illegal. And then my question box says, what's illegal for you? Some of them might just be laws that they would make, and that's completely fine. So the first one was, she would make a law that says everyone has to work at least 24 hours in food service and face one nasty customer. And I think this is so real because people have lost all their sense of like compassion and empathy, especially when it comes to food service. I have dealt with some crazies in the photography industry, but there's just something different about food service. So this is a great law to enact. I did respond, or maybe I posted it on my story. I think they should have to face more than one nasty customer. I think that they should have to face at least like 5. If you're doing like an 8-hour shift, maybe one every couple hours. The next one, moving someone's phone charger then not putting it back should be illegal. I am so guilty of this. It's kind of in a niche way for me and Justin because occasionally we will use Justin's camera batteries. He has these giant batteries that can, actually it's what the camera is running on right now and what the light is running on. And they have USB and USB-C ports in them. So we will just like carry them around the house if our phone was dying. I have a bad habit lately of not charging my phone at night. Sometimes it just happens. Sometimes I just can't be bothered. And so during the day I'll be like, hey, can I have a battery? And he'll give me a battery with a USB-C to lightning, what is that called? It doesn't matter. iPhone cable. And sometimes I will end up stealing the cable off of his desk. Sometimes he'll let me borrow one and then I'll just move it. And then sometimes maybe he's brought an actual charger to plug into the wall for watching a movie and I'll move that. I sit on the deck a lot, so sometimes I'll charge my phone on the deck. I'm very guilty of this, so jail time for me. The next one is talking or using a phone whatsoever in movie theaters. I don't go to the movies almost ever. I don't know the last time I went into a movie theater, to be honest. They scare me. And I don't really watch movies, so it's 2 things in one. I'm a show person, and I'm a mindless show person most of the time. But if I'm putting myself in your shoes and I'm going to a movie theater and somebody's in front of me scrolling on their phone, that would probably really annoy me. If you're in the back row, I don't think it's a problem. I think we can objectively agree on that because you're not actually disturbing anybody's experience. But if you're talking, talking on your phone, definitely illegal. Talking during a movie, I think an occasional like leaning over to your friend and whispering something to them is fine, but very occasional and very quiet. When you start going past the whisper and it's like a consistent thing, that would drive me crazy. Similar to the chewing thing, like social cues, guys. Okay, the next one. Let's make it illegal to stop at the top or bottom of staircases. In parentheses, I'm traveling right now. This gets into social awareness and lack of urgency. Okay, if we're stopping in the middle of a walkway, you are completely ignoring that anybody else around you exists. And I will admit, sometimes I stop in a walkway because I need to focus on something or figure something out on my phone or whatever. And if I realize I'm in a walkway, I try to move. But at the top of a staircase or the bottom is crazy. Like if you're talking about airports or public shopping areas or public anything. And because I think this person, again, keeping these anonymous, I think she's traveling right now in Greece or something of that nature. Touristy areas, you've got to have a sense of urgency and you've got to have social awareness. Lizzie and I were talking recently about lack of urgency. There was that trend on TikTok, like, what's your betrayal list? And one of hers was lack of urgency. And people will just, the amount of times I'm walking somewhere and someone's in front of me and in my head, I want to say, move. I say it in my head. I would never actually say it out loud. But when people are dragging their feet and they're just moseying along, there's a time and place for that. Okay, do it to the side. You can mosey. I love a leisurely stroll, but don't be in people's way. Or airports. If you're walking around an airport and you're in the middle of a walkway and you need to stop, move to the side. Or if you're walking through the airport and you're gonna walk really slow, why are we not? Here's the thing. The general rule of the road, right, is, at least here in the States, if you're going slow, stay to the right. Is this not a thing in people's brains? I just don't understand, like, taking your sweet time, especially because in the airport, everyone's on their phone. They're looking at their gate. They're looking at their text that they missed on the flight or whatever. They're walking with their, like, carry-on next to them. So they're taking up a lot of space and just moseying on through. And if you have kids or you have, like, multiple people in your group and you're just shuffling, no, illegal. Okay, the last submission is it should be illegal to breed pugs. And I think it should be illegal to breed a lot of things. A lot of dog breeds should not be allowed. Pugs, can they actually breathe? You know what I'm saying? French bulldogs shouldn't be allowed to be bred. Okay, here's the thing. Bethany, I know you're listening to this. Bethany has a French bulldog. Her name is Coco. That dog shouldn't exist ethically or scientifically, but she does. She is a miracle. They rescued her from a shelter, and I think that's great. She perpetually has her tongue out. She's got the underbite. She's a whole package of French bulldog. She's a funny dog. We love her. But her kind should not be here. If you can't survive in the wild, if you wouldn't exist, if natural selection would take you, you shouldn't be here. Sorry. So yeah, pugs. And don't take what I just said and say, well, your golden retriever shouldn't exist. Okay, my dogs are perfect and they should exist. But I think working line dogs are incredible. Once you get to certain breeds that they're just like questionable, or like if you didn't have regular vet intervention, you wouldn't be here. Don't breed that dog, guys. Come on. Anyway, that's all the submissions I have. Again, I didn't actually say that I was using this for the podcast because part of me wasn't even sure if I would do this. So I did post it with the intent to use these next week. I don't know how often I'm going to do this. Next time, I'll probably post and say it's for the podcast. But in the meantime, I hope you have a great week. What day is it? Today's Thursday. I think Thursday is a great day of the week. It's Friday's Friday. I always said that in college because you're so close to the end of the week. And Fridays are great. So it's basically Friday already. I actually don't really feel that way anymore though, because my job is on the weekends. So my favorite day is actually Monday right now. I normally take those off. Anyway, I'm rambling now. This whole thing was a ramble, but it's my rambling and it's my podcast. So I hope you enjoyed it. This was Floor Time. If you would like any specific topics, let me know. I think my next episode might actually be with Justin, if he's willing. I would like to talk about some of the international adventures that we've had. If you would like to be on the podcast, send me a DM. Come to my house. I'll feed you dinner. I want to talk about photography. I want to talk about paleontology and science. I want to talk about things that really bug me on social media. That's like most of this is kind of just a platform for me to rant. And then I have a few ideas for submission episodes. So, yeah. I'll see you later.